As a child, we've all been there, about to light an Aether portal, just to be let down. But what if I change that? So to prove my younger self wrong, I'm going to recreate the entire Aether dimension all the way down to making the glowstone portal actually work. But first we need to actually travel to the Aether to get a reference for the build.
Whoa, this is so nostalgic. Oh, I remember this building. I'm getting flashbacks of my childhood from this. But how am I going to build all this? These blocks don't even exist in the game.
So after some thinking, I had an idea.
If I replace the Aether blocks with similar looking vanilla Minecraft blocks, then the Aether will look basically identical.
So after swapping out all the blocks, I was ready for building.
The Aether is in the sky, so I think it's only right if I build this up high too. But there's a slight issue. I'm already out of stone. Wait, actually, I have 3. Yeah, that's not going to be enough.
This is because I need 180,000 stone.
That's so much stone that you literally need 100 shulker boxes to store all that. It's giving me a headache even thinking about that. It's so much stone.
Okay, I have come up with 3 different ways of collecting stone, and I'm going to hopefully find the most efficient one. My first method is borrowing stone from people. But there's a slight problem with this method. Everyone is so poor. However, I did find a gold mine of stone. Wait, is it a stone mine then? Which let me stock up on 23 shulker boxes. I sure hope no one needs this. My next method of getting stone is just mining, and I think the best way to do that is getting haste 2 and digging around. That's 1 shulker box, 2 shulker boxes, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, that took a whole hour, so I think it's time to move on to the final method.
Introducing the Cobblestone Miner 3000.
This farm blows up cobblestone extremely fast. However, we need stone, not cobblestone. So this long line of furnaces smelt the cobblestone, which means all I need to do is sit here. I should probably go outside. There we go, that's finally all the shulker boxes filled. And I've concluded the best way to get stone is from other people's chests. Now that I've got tons of stone, it's time to start building the base of the island. So without further ado, let's get to building. Honestly, this project was hard to start, and I feel like that's true with a lot of things. We all have these goals and ambitions that feel so big, they almost feel impossible. But sometimes you just need to start. You never know what might happen. Okay, that's all the stone placed. And you may be thinking, that's a whole load of holes over the whole entire build. Well, I'm planning to fill those with andesite and gold ore, which will hopefully spice up the build. The issue with this plan is I have neither andesite or gold, or friends. To get the andesite, I think my best option is to go mining for it. Alright, perfect. And then for the gold ore, I can fly all the way over to the Badlands biome and get digging. Whoa, isn't this awesome? That's everything for the base of the island, so we ought to get building. This is way too long. Now, while this may be looking good, an island is no good without any land, meaning we need to build the top half of the island. Slight problem, actually massive problem. The land requires thousands of grass blocks, which if you didn't know is not easy to get quickly, and even harder to farm. If I were to mine it, it would take me about 40 hours, and I ain't got time for that. My other option is farming it, however, according to my friend, the farm does not sound fun to build. Wait, Ravengers? Yo, what in the Mumbo Jumbo is this? How does this thing even work? What do these do? What do these do? What do these do? What do these do? What do these... How am I going to build all this? This is massive. I think that means it's time for me to make an over-edited, super long and not that important montage of me collecting materials. Let's go. One block that I really need is slime, which is a bit annoying because my current method of getting slime is waiting until night, then trying to find slimes, killing them, and having about 60 balls at the end of the hour. So I built a farm, which means if I now AFK up here, I can get loads of slime balls. Well, this is perfect, and that's all the materials collected, which means it's time for the terrible task of building this entire dirt farm. This is not going to be fun. And for the most important part of the farm, the lanterns for decoration. And that's the farm complete. Well, apart from the Ravengers, which I'm not sure how to get. So I'm going to ask Zenith. How get Ravenger?
So first you need to head over to a pillager outpost.
Then you need to take out a pillager with a banner for the bad omen effect. Once at a village, a raid will start. After defeating a couple rounds of the raid, lure the ravagers away from the village. But be very careful as they deal a lot of damage. Then all you have to do is secure them in the farm.
After securing 3 more ravagers in the farm, it was ready for use. Or so I thought, as when I tried to get the farm going, it did nothing. The farm was fully broken. And it was all because of me rotating the build, meaning I spent weeks of my life on this useless farm that didn't even work. What was I to do? I was now far behind on my video, with barely anything to show for it. But I couldn't give up now. I couldn't let my younger self down. I needed this done, no matter what. So I grabbed my shovel and I dug dirt. And even more dirt. For hours and hours and what felt like eternity. Until finally, I collected it all. But this build was far from complete. So moving on, having all this dirt in these shulker boxes is good and all, but it needs to be placed onto the island. Well, obviously. This means hours and hours of placing dirt. Why did I make this island so big? As I'm putting together the Aether, it hits me. I'm getting one step closer to proving my younger self right. And maybe, just maybe, I'm not going to get that same feeling back when I first heard about the Aether. And that's all the dirt placed. As you can tell, it doesn't look too great. And that's because I want to make all of this into grass. Which means if I just go and grab a grass block and place it in the center, we can get a beautiful time lapse of the grass growing. So the replay mod may have crashed, which is not too much of an issue because the grass is still fully grown. This means we can move on to decorating the entire island. And this starts with these sand bits that stick out. Sadly, I can't just use normal sand because it falls. But I think if I replace this with oak planks, it will look basically identical. But this means I need a couple thousand blocks of oak. So if I fly over to a forest, I can just mine up these trees. Wait, don't I have a tree farm? How does this thing even work? I think this is broken. Wait, yeah, there's no way I'm fixing this. This looks way too confusing. Which means back to mining oak manually. That should be all the oak planks, which means we can now place it around the island. Okay, even with all the oak planks placed, it still looks a bit bland, so I think we can spice it up with a bit of foliage. This means trees, plants, and leaves. And I'm going to first start with the trees. Everyone and their grandmas know that trees require logs and leaves, so let's gather those blocks. Wait, can I just get saplings and plant them? Why did I not think of that? So I grab my hoe and I mine leaves. With all the saplings, I got planting. Also, while I'm achieving my childhood dream by building the Aether, I want to tell you about my other childhood dream. You see, ever since I was in the womb, I've always wanted to hit 25,000 subscribers. So if you're watching this in the first couple months, you have a chance to make this happen. This doesn't look too bad, but all the saplings still need more time to grow, which could take ages. Or not. While these other ones are growing, I think we should move on to the flowers. Now, instead of picking the flowers, because that's a bit weird, I'm going to use bone meal. And I know what you're thinking.
How on earth are you going to get bone meal, Mr. Levi, my favourite YouTuber?
Well, it's quite simple, dear viewer. I head over to the nether and fly to a soul sand valley, where I can find hundreds of these fossils that I can mine up and then craft into bone meal. Why do these blocks sound so weird? With all the bone meal, I can run around and plant it every now and then to grow the flowers. Whoa, the vegetation actually brings the whole island together. And we can make it look even better with these bushes we find in the Aether. So let's gather some leaves with shears. And while I'm mining leaves, how about you leave a like? And while you're at it, how about you leave my wife's name out your fat? Fabulous, we have all the leaves. So I'm going to place them in patches, a bit like how pumpkins spawn. This all looks so sick, but there's one thing that's really important for the Aether that we just don't have, and that is dungeons. Now I'm going to build 2 of these, starting with these tunnel ones inside the island, which are apparently called the bronze dungeons? I don't know why, they don't look very bronze to me. For this main corridor, I'm going to use a mixture of cobblestone and mossy cobblestone. So if I head over to the stone farm, I can collect the excess cobblestone from earlier. To make it mossy, I can apparently craft it with moss blocks, which makes sense, but how have I never done this before? Luckily, there's a moss farm with, yes! Yes, plenty of moss. Now, next up for the rooms inside of the dungeon, I require stone bricks, which I can craft from the leftover stone from earlier. And then finally, for the main boss room, we need mud bricks, which I have zero idea how to get. Like, how do I even get mud? Wait, I think it generates yes, the mangrove. And according to the interwebs, I need to get some wheat and combine it with the mud to make packed mud. So let's just roll a couple villagers and make the bricks. With all the materials, we can start building. So let's first build the corridors and the rooms. And then we can finally build the main boss room. And then for the loot, well, this should do. Even the mobs know this is a dungeon. What? Before going on to the next dungeon, which will genuinely look crazy, I want to add these cool bouncy blocks I found on the Aether, because they're just so fun. Boing, boing, boing. The block most similar to this is obviously the slime block, which means back to the slime farm. Yo, we finally have all the balls. Wait, let's craft them up and place them round. This was definitely worth adding, I think. Something actually worth adding is a couple of islands to give the Aether feel. So here is island number 1, and then island number 2. Creative names, I know. Okay, now moving on to the final build before the working portal. And that is this floating dungeon sat on the cloud. I think it's a really iconic part of the Aether, so we have to build it. Slight issue, it requires quartz. I hate collecting quartz. Bro, what are you doing? After about an hour of mining, I have 9 stacks of quartz blocks, which means this will take me forever. So I think it's time to try a different method. So if I nab a couple of these guys and level them up, yes, I can trade for quartz. Well, if I had emeralds. To the raid farm! This should be enough emeralds. Well, hopefully. So let's get to trading. Yo, that's all the quartz collected. I'm glad that's over. However, this build is more than just quartz, as we also need glass for the cloud. So I guess I can try mining sand? There must be a faster way of doing this. Wait, no. The sand duper. Yo, infinite sand, let's go. But this is sand, and I need white stained glass. Smelting time? Well, that was quick. Not. To make the glass white, I can use the bone meal that I got from the method earlier. There we go, nice. Which means I've now collected everything for the dungeon. Let's get to building. Yo, this looks sick. I'm also going to add the decorations around the main room, as it's very iconic. This leaves the final part of the Aether, the portal. The problem is, whenever you try to place water in the frame, it falls out. So if I just make this contraption to confuse the game into not letting the water flow, I can build the Aether portal. Which means the Aether is finally complete.
Yo!
Wait, it's actually so cool.
Oh my gosh, wow, this is actually so
Nah, there's no way. There's actually, did you build the whole Aether? They even got the silver dungeon. Oh, I remember that thing. Oh, nah, this is so nostalgic. Oh my god. What? This terrain looks sick.
This is actually so cool.
This is insane.
How did you even do this?
Bro, this is so nostalgic.